had a good holiday.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. Channel 11, your microphone.
All right.
You want to turn around this way? Can you turn it around? Well, the media folks speak out as who's in the house, so the folks will know who's here tonight. You can watch out for coverage. We have Channel 4, 2, 11. What other media? The New Pittsburgh Courier. Who's that?
Pittsburgh Quarterly.
Pittsburgh Quarterly.
I'm not afraid. Yeah. It's been a ride.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a work in the offering for probably a couple years of conversation. Sometimes we have conversations, they lead nowhere but to more conversation. We had to stay with it. The conversation, as of tonight, will be producing results. Many people, all the folks in this house who are either African American or people of color, or know people of color, you probably have heard over the years somebody say, why do black people?
I'm not afraid. Yeah. It's been a ride.
Hear that somebody came back. And some black people say, what? Why did they come back? And then some people, like Kelly Ware, who'll be presenting soon, left. So we're looking at why people stay, why they come back, and why they leave. And we're hoping this will be valuable information for all of us, valuable information for the corporate community, to analyze those who wish to keep black people in Pittsburgh. They will now have information because of the wisdom of Dr. Diane Connors and her staff, and the wisdom of University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work Center on Race and Social Problems. It has a great history going back to Dr. Davis and Dr. Banks of research. So we're not just going to be making up stuff, as we sometimes say in our B-Pep meetings. We will be creating information, usable information. And the Black Political Empowerment Project is a parent of Corporate Equity Inclusion Roundtable and the Coalition Against Violence, Great Pittsburgh Coalition Against Violence. But we cannot do what we're doing without the partners who have agreed to be with us. So some of them are here tonight and will briefly comment at the end of the presentation. But we're so proud and happy to have the partnership with the university behind us, the Allegheny Conference on Community Development behind us, and all the partners who we've identified. So believe it or not, I don't think I need to say anything more. So we're going to bring up the folks who've been leading this effort. And one of our new emerging leaders in Pittsburgh from the African American community is Godfrey. Godfrey is the Vice President of Equity, People, and Culture for the Greater Pittsburgh Coalition Against, Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. Godfrey from the Food Bank. Let's give him a welcome. He's chaired our committee on this great work. Bring him up, make him feel real.
Thank you, Tim. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I want to share just a few words of the importance of the survey. Tim mentioned the formation of it, the genesis of where the conversation started, but we took that and moved it and advanced it further. So we're proud of the efforts of the Black Empowerment, Political Empowerment Project, B-Pep, Appropriate Equity Inclusion, Roundtables, Working Group. It's a lot to say. But also known as CEI, our working group, along with the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work, Center for Race and Social Problems, excited to launch the Black Pittsburgh Satisfaction and Retention Survey and begin receiving responses. So this study, through response collection, data compiling, and combined with research and analysis, is designed to produce a study to assist regional employers, universities, major nonprofits, and community leaders in the region to assist their efforts in achieving economic advancement, attraction and retention of talent in the region, and can be utilized as a way to further understand the African American community throughout the greater Pittsburgh region. We have partnered with and had discussion with many organizations in the region to assist us and who are willing to and agreed to share the survey with their audiences, and many partnerships are still forming as we speak. We want to ensure that we're hearing from Black and African American residents of all ethnicities in the region, in the greater Pittsburgh region, of their experiences living in the region and those that are part of the Pittsburgh organization, Pittsburgh local organizations that have left the region. Some of the experiences have resulted in residents anchoring and building a life in the Pittsburgh region, which we want to understand those amenities that have brought them here, captured their attendance and aspirations to stay. We've also understand that those individuals decided to take their families and leave the region for various reasons. And as Tim mentioned, there are others that have left the region and decided to come back to the Pittsburgh region. With focused view of the African American population and region aligned with CEIR's mission to address equity, inclusion for African Americans in corporate, university, and nonprofits, this project will enable us to get a direct response from the community to understand why so many have decided whether the living in the region was the right choice or was not the right choice for them. We will then get to understand the social, cultural, and other experiences that has driven such decisions. And this information is going to, again, be utilized to help organizations in the region that are focused on attraction and retention of African Americans in the region to help build strategies. With the study that will go out, it will give them information to help to understand living experiences of how they can maintain African Americans in their workforce, in the communities, and build thriving communities. So that's the hope and that's the aim of this study, this project. We hope that this will be very broadly distributed, again, to those that are living in the city, in the greater Pittsburgh region, those that have left, and we can compile that information and have rich information that will help us, thrive as a region in this area, and continue our efforts of being as quoted, the most livable city in the U.S. I'm going to bring up Kelly, I'm going to bring up Kaya Khan, who's going to talk a little bit about the research and information that they're going to be using, the process they're going to be using to use this information. Welcome, Kelly.
You said an opposite side. Yes, okay. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm so honored to be here tonight, partnered here with the Corporate Equity and Inclusion Roundtable. My name is Dr. Kyan Connor. I am a professor at the University of Pittsburgh in the School of Social Work. I am also the Associate Dean for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for the School of Social Work and the Director of the Center on Race and Social Problems. And it is my extreme honor to be here tonight to talk about this critically important work. The Center on Race and Social Problems was founded in 2002, and since then has been doing groundbreaking and historic work, largely focused on research to help dismantle barriers, to help address racial inequities, and move the needle towards social justice and racial justice, both here in Pittsburgh and around the world. It is an honor to be continuing that legacy and to be walking in those footsteps. There's a lot of folks from social work here tonight, including Dean Betsy Farmer. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. Because this work is important to us. And so when CIR approached us about partnering on this research endeavor, we immediately said, how can we be involved? What can we do? How can we help? Because we know that creating solutions to problems without actually hearing the voice of the people who live in that area is going to be meaningless. There's no point. You know, many of us, and we've heard Tim talk about it, we heard Godfrey talk about the fact that Pittsburgh has been consistently identified as one of the most affordable and best places to live in the country. But that experience is not the same for everyone. For Black and brown residents, there are significant challenges and barriers that create real issues to long-term residents here. And many of us in the room could probably talk about anecdotally our own experiences or those around us and could create solutions or talk about action steps based upon that kind of evidence. But how meaningful would that be? How generalizable would that information be if we're not truly hearing from a larger segment of the community? Often we tend to surround ourselves with people who are a little bit like us. Folks who, you know, engage or live in the same communities, maybe from the same faith-based institutions, or go to the same community centers, or work in the same areas, or our neighbors. Often we tend to have similar perspectives and points of view. So we are potentially missing some of those nuanced and complex experiences that individuals of color have in the greater Pittsburgh region. And we really want to be able to tap into that so that we can create data-driven action steps that are going to be meaningful for a much larger segment of the population. We're fully expecting, for example, that there may be different priorities with regard to long-term residency here for people in different zip codes, or for different age cohorts, different genders, folks from different kinds of occupations. Those kinds of nuanced differences are really important, and not just for better understanding why people want to leave, but what is holding on or keeping people here. I'm also, Kelly, one of those people that left for 10 years and came back.
I'll have to take the survey.
Say it again?
I'll have to take the survey.
I will take the survey. But there are many others that are like that too, who have that experience. Those voices need to be captured as well. If we can better understand what are some of the strengths, because there are a lot of strengths in the city of Pittsburgh. And we can talk a lot about the challenges, as we should, but we also have to figure out what are the beautiful things about living here that would keep people here, that might bring people back. And if we understand what those carrots or those hooks are for different cohorts of people, we can use that information to continue to bring people back, to keep people here, and continue the important work of diversifying our amazing city. We were also able to get a grant from the University Center for Social and Urban Research, UCSR, who gave us a Steve Manners Award so that we had a little bit of money to play around with. And so we're able to give the first 1,000 people who take the survey a $10 gift card. So we hope that that will be an incentive for folks to want to participate and to take the survey so that we get as much information as possible. We're also going to be doing some city-structured qualitative interviews. So we want to sit down with people and actually talk to folks in these different subgroups. Numbers are helpful, but being able to hear the stories, being able to hear those complex, nuanced experiences so that we can really tell a full story is going to be incredibly meaningful. So we are incredibly excited to be a part of this. We're glad that this is launching today. We hope that everyone will take the survey, and I'll have Kelly come up to tell you a little bit more about how you can do that. Thank you all so much.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Connor mentioned, my name is Kelly Ware, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how you can go about taking that survey. What you're seeing on the screen here is just the top. We don't have it automatically scrolling, but the top of our website. We've been calling it, our working title is a Black Pittsburgh Satisfaction and Retention Survey, which does not really roll off your tongue. You heard I just stumbled over it myself. So the website is blackpittsburghsurvey.org. So where you have is at the beginning, you have just a nice handy button, so you don't actually have to read what it is if you don't want to. But we have the who, what, where, why. Then we have some photographs and we have some more robust information at the bottom of the website that in paragraph form talks about the data, our aims, how we hope to use it. Because really this survey will capture everything from did you leave or are you satisfied with the education that your children are receiving to Is it a social issue that you're having? Were you able to find advancement in your professional field? Whatever the case may be, again, we have incidental stories, but we want to get data, really great data. So our goal is, as Dr. Connor mentioned, to have at least 1,000 people take this survey. We've got, again, this handy website so that you can share it with folks. It's easy to say. It rolls off the tongue. We have also, we've got these flyers in the back. We have some kind of symmetrical ones, and then we have some that are a little bit more like corporate looking with the city skyline. So that's something that appeals to everyone. We have the why do you live in Pittsburgh? Because really that's the basis of that part of the question, right? Why do you live here? Maybe you were born here and you're stuck. Maybe you live here because you love it. I don't know, but we aim to find that out. And then we symmetrically have, oh, why did you leave Pittsburgh? Essentially just the exact same thing that I was sent to my entire branch of my family tree that is in Atlanta. We'll receive that same survey. So if you signed in and gave, shared your email address, we can send you this kit as well. We would like, of course, all of the community partners that Tim's going to list a little bit later all agree to distribute it amongst themselves to their networks as grassroots approach. But obviously, they're in Pittsburgh, generally speaking, so we have outreach to alumni associations such as Pitt's African American Alumni Council. There are other universities that we also would want to reach out to as well, but also just incidentally, just to download the flyer and send it to your cousins, send it to your friends, send it to folks who are not here so that we can really get that full, robust data set, because it is really that we're seeking to do an expansive SWOT analysis on Black Pittsburgh. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and so we need to be able to get that from as many people as possible. We are, of course, publicly launching this survey today, which is December 2nd. We're going to keep it open until March 31st is our current goal, so that we can get all of the holiday chit chat. Maybe their family comes back for Christmas and or the holidays for Kwanzaa. You can say, oh, I've got a thing that you can fill out to get a lot of the public events. We're speaking slightly out of school, but we are available if you would need us to come out to your community group. We can do that as well. But to be able to give those presentations throughout the Black History Month and the like. But yes, so our goal is right now to get as many surveys completed as possible by March 31st, which would give us an opportunity to give at least some basic reporting on just how many people took it and what groups you fall into at our annual conference, the CIR conference in June. It is kind of a choose your own adventure survey, which only takes about 10 minutes. You start with, hey, I live in Pittsburgh, I am a boomerang, and then it takes you down a different path of questions. And if you say, hey, I am from Pittsburgh and I've lived in LA for the last 10 years, different set of questions. But again, it should only take about 15 minutes. If you have a lot to say in those answer fields, if we're just checking boxes, maybe closer to 10. But again, we really are hopeful and encourage everyone to take the survey to spread the word. The beautiful thing about working with CRISP is that they can crunch as many numbers as we can give them, right? So it's not like we're not restrained by what I would be able to handle in a survey monkey. We really do have the best of the best working on this with us, and we're so grateful to have you in partnership and to see all of your faces here. And of course, you can scan this if you would like before you leave, or in the car, or when you get home. And again, we'll be able to send out the toolkit of all of these resources to you if you signed in. And that's pretty much all I've got. So, Tim?
Come on, let's give them a big hand, because this is a big work. I'm going to ask other folks. Okay, I'm going to ask Majestic Lane, the Chief Equity Officer, Delegated Conference and Community Development, to come forward. Doug Heck, the CEO, Pittsburgh Tomorrow, Pittsburgh Quarterly. Sebastian Lacey, Vice President of Equity and Culture and part of the CIR. Brandon Davis, Membership Chair, 100 Black Men, part of B-Pep CIR. Alexander Payton, Kingsley Association Director of Operations and Technology. Let's give Kingsley Association a hand for providing this stage free of charge for us tonight. We want to mention that other partners, if you come in the house, my vice chair, our vice chair, the B-Pep in the house, Lorraine Cross, and if there are other organizations that come in the house that are going to be partners, let us know. We want to acknowledge the Housing Authority of Pittsburgh, the Allegheny County Bar Association's Homeless Brown Association, or Division, now it's called, the NAACP Pittsburgh branch, Pittsburgh's African American Alumni Council, who will be helping to process this and distribute it. I know if Clyde, is that you, Clyde? Yes. Okay. And we're going to have Clyde come in after Alexander Pinkett, the lovely and talented Dr. Clyde Wilson Pickett. Now, we have a name like, some people call him Clyde Pickett. I can't do that. When you have a name Clyde Wilson and Pickett, you have to call him Clyde Wilson Pickett. I grew up in the 60s. So he's going to bring remarks on behalf of the Pittsburgh Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for Equity. Diversity and Inclusion for the University of Pittsburgh remains a strong partner for us. Let's give a hand to Majestic Lane. Chief Equity Officer, Allegany Conference, our community development.
Tim always gets you up here and does stuff like that. But no, thank you. Thank you to Tim and B-Pep and CEIR for the amazing work in keeping this in front of people's faces. And Dr. Connor, Kelly, thank you so much for the work and, from the University of Pittsburgh. Thank you. So I serve as the Chief Equity Officer for the Allegheny Conference on Community Development. And the purpose of the conference, as it's often called, is to talk about the quality of life in the region and improving the quality of life in the region. Goes back to World War II and a whole bunch of things. And a lot of great things have been done in the name of the conference, and as me and Bill Flanagan often talk about too, there have been a lot of challenges. And a lot of challenges and blind spots when it comes to the Black population in the region, right? And so this is why this is so important, because we know we can't be a thriving region if everyone's in thriving. It's very simple. You can't be a globally competitive region if your population isn't happy, if people aren't satisfied, and they don't have access to resources, to opportunity, and to prosperity. So we've seen a lot of studies. We're a university town, so we get a whole bunch of studies, right? And some people often say they get study overload, but I argue that this is the kind of study that we need. This is talking to people, listening to people, getting data that can be used across the region to really talk about what are the challenges and successes. Because if we only talk about what's not going well, we reinforce that to not be a place that people can thrive. When there are people thriving, we just want to create a space for more people to thrive in an equitable way. So, as a conference, it's going to be great to be able to partner with you to talk about what this looks like, get it to most people, and not just in the city of Pittsburgh, because there are Black people across our region who often don't get heard from. So it's important for us to make sure this gets to people, and then we can come back, talk about it, and then develop concrete steps to build on what is going well and start to remedy what is not. So thank you for being here.
That again was Majestic Lane, Chief Equity Officer, Allegheny Conference and Development. He mentioned Bill Flanagan. Bill, raise your fingers and toes, because he facilitates all of our conferences, 11 or 12 now, each year at Duquesne University, and he's been our partner. We talked about this a couple of years ago or so. He thought it was a great idea, but we're finally bringing it to fruition. It's the Chief Corporate Relations Officer. Give him a hand over there, because he's been our partner for so long. Doug, is it Heck?
Point.
Hoyt?
Yep. But heck's okay too.
Heck? Let's give a hand for Hoyt over here. He's the CEO of Pittsburgh Tomorrow and Pittsburgh Quarterly. Come on over.
So I'm also, for the next 29 days, a member of the University Center for Social and Urban Research, and they are the best group in town to be doing this survey. So I'm sure it's gonna be great. I'm glad you guys got that mayor's grant. I've been a journalist here in Pittsburgh for 39 years, came for a 12-week internship. For the past 30 years, I've run what we call a regional indicators program, comparing Pittsburgh to other regions across the country. I left the papers about 20 years ago. I started Pittsburgh Quarterly Magazine. And a year ago, I and a group of others, including Bill, started a project we're calling Pittsburgh Tomorrow. And the idea is to turn around the population losses in this region, which are considerable. We lead the nation out of 387 metro areas in the country. As much of a stat nerd as I have become, I didn't even know there were that many. We lead the nation in what's called natural population decline, more deaths than births. And it's not an easy thing to turn around the population situation, but we're intent on doing that by making this the best place to live in the country, and by extension, literally the world. Some people think we're crazy. But this survey is going to be, we want to work hand in glove with you guys, because a big part of what we're doing, as you all probably know, with Paul Abernathy, Reverend Father Paul said, we don't need settlers here, we need pioneers. And that's a big thrust, a major focus on what we're going to be working on attracting. And so for the next, we've already gotten started, but early next year, we're starting. The idea is to meet with these so-called pioneers, and you can imagine we're all, in some ways, fit that bill, doing just what you guys are doing. What's your experience here? What do you want in the city? And then creating programs to fill that gap. So I want to thank you all and applaud you, and I'll be looking forward to the results and being in touch. Thanks.
Thank you. He's going to dinner with his kids. So he takes out first. Let's give him another hand. Go ahead. Pittsburgh Tomorrow, Pittsburgh Quarterly Magazine. My friend who works with us on our VIP voting is Power Coalition. And happens to be, he's a good man, and I like him. Vice President of Equity and Culture for the YWCA in Greater Pittsburgh. He was our facilitator for Voting Power Coalition for the last several months. And let's bring him up to see what he has to say. Sebastian Lacey.
As you know, Tim just grabs you off the street and say, come on, say something, say a couple of things. But again, it's my pleasure to be a part of this. On behalf of the YOC Greater Pittsburgh, I oversee the Center for Race and Gender Equity. And with that, its focus is on gender pay equity for women. And again, that's something very vital to the economic and the thriving of the city of Pittsburgh. And again, for I want to thank Kaya, Tim, Godfrey, as well as Kelly for doing this heavy lift, for pulling this data together, but also presenting it to us and launching it on behalf of the city and the Pittsburgh region as well. As you know, our mission at the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh is to eliminate racism and empower women. And we focus on supporting women, especially women of color. So this survey is very vital to the work that we do to make the city of Pittsburgh not a city just for some, but for all to live and thrive. So again, on behalf of the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh and the Center for Race and Gender Equity, I want to applaud Kaya, Kelly, Tim, as well as Godfrey for the great work they're doing. And I would once again encourage each one of you to take the survey, share with your friends and families and colleagues across the Pittsburgh region and across the United States. And I thank you.
All right, thank you. Sebastian Lacey, giving up Vice President Equity and Culture for the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh. Brandon Davis is coming up. He's a new member of B-Pep, and he's also the membership chair of 100 Black Men. What a good guy. Let's bring him up. One of our members, Brandon Davis. I'm getting my hair done.
So number one, thank you all for being here. And as Tim mentioned, I'm the membership chair for the 100 Black Men of Western PA. The 100 Black Men of America is the largest professional mentorship organization in our United States, with chapters international in terms of Caicos and London. And all of that means our mission is to increase the quality of life for our communities, which is why we are involved and proud to be involved in this survey. And I want to highlight two things. Is number one, we have a 38-year history of the Saturday Academy. So we are watching very young scholars go from elementary to middle to college and into their professions. What is special about this is we get to see why they may leave, why they may stay. And that makes us more invested in this survey and more invested in being in the forefront and assisting B-Pep and CIO with making this happen. So thank you again for coming out and thank you for being involved.
I have a question for you. He is a member of this other fraternity. I'm an alpha. He's an omega. There's another omega back there. But we discussed this, but what about the role of fraternities and sororities in this possible project?
So this is very niche, I think is the traditional term, right? So fraternities and sororities and all of our black organizations, including the Women Black Men, reach across the nation. We interact more often than not. We offer opportunities and potential around the world. So what's special about this is for Pittsburgh to be the steel city in Pennsylvania, the keystone state, the state that held the nation together, we can communicate and see where the leak is, where our black communities are going. Everybody's running to Atlanta, right? Everybody's running to Atlanta, and Atlanta is number one in black entrepreneurship, but we can see this is not a dig on Atlanta, so please forgive me as I wear a Morehouse rugby. But this is not a dig on Atlanta, but we can see nuanced things like just because somebody has an LLC does not mean that they're being productive. So perhaps the number one in black entrepreneurship may possibly lie somewhere else. Or we can highlight the potential that we have here in the Steel City, like legacies like Avery College, legacies like the Hill House or August Wilson's house. And with that, we can keep artists. With that, we can keep the young black scholars and potential that are looking for these things. So to bring it back to the question, when we talk about fraternities, we're talking about, as I shamelessly plug, culture champions. We're talking about culture champions. We're talking about people who curate, contribute, and defend the culture. So when we communicate these things, when we go to New York, and we go to Atlanta, and we go to LA, we could talk about how the DJs in Pittsburgh made the Cali sound. We can talk about these things. So that's only one. And you talk about fraternities, you talk about the Divine Nine. I think it's a lot bigger than that. As you can see, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm very, very proud. So that's why all of this is important. So it's not just, hey, you're here at the press conference. But when you go back to your family dinner tables, when you travel, talk about Pittsburgh, talk about black Pittsburgh, because people say there's some black people in Pittsburgh. And when they come here, now, take this how you will. When they come here, they say, oh, where's the black people? And they don't talk to each other. Well, but we have a lot. I always say we have everything, because I believe we do. But we need to talk, we need to communicate. We need to increase that mode of transportation. So you talk about fraternities and sororities. Make a special note that Omega Psi Phi is the greatest fraternity. Undoubtedly, but it includes everybody. It includes the Divine Nine. It includes the 100. It includes the bands. A lot of our musicians come out of Capital when we go and be a part of the historic bands. It's a very big conversation, but it matters, right? It matters, and that is why we're here. That's why Kit is here. CEI Law, I work with their own B-Pep. And again, the 100 Black Men is very proud to be a part of this initiative.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm a little carried away there. She gives an inch, she takes 7. Brandon Davis, membership chair, 100 Black Men, and one of our new emerging leaders for B-Pep. Alexander Payton, another new emerging member of B-Pep, as the Kingsley Association's Director of Operations and Technology, and readily agreed that Kingsley will help partner in marketing the Black Satisfaction and Retention Survey. Pittsburgh survey. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, Mr. Pitt, Alexander Pitt.
Keep everyone on. My name is Alex Payton, Director of Operations at the Kingsley Association. We have a mission to foster, be a catalyst to foster youth and community leaders through integral programs and services. We were most excited about when it comes to the surveys that we have a long history, 130 years. People have touched us in many different ways, whether we're at the busway, whether we're down in Auburn, whether we're down in the Hill District. Being able to understand why people don't come around anymore, what happens to them when they say, oh yeah, I used to go, but I had to get out of the way. So we're excited that there's some type of organization, that there's an initiative going on for us to be able to find that information, especially as we work on becoming a stronger catalyst or a force multiplier when it comes to community initiatives. We're setting ourselves to be able to help with data collection, utilizing our unique touches with individuals in the organizational space, because people come here to do their own thing. It's a great opportunity to let them know what's going on around them. So we're looking, very excited for us to be able to utilize this opportunity to connect people all together, and I appreciate this opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you. Alexander Payton, Kingsley Association Director of Operations Technology. Give him another hand because he's hosting us. The man that has dignity and respect, wisdom and opportunity, and a great R&B name, happens to be the Vice Chancellor, Director of Equity and Diversity and Inclusion, all that we need, that some people want to take away. But we won't go there too deep today. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Clyde Wilson Pickett.
Always good evening, good to be with you. As was shared, I'm Dr. Clyde Wilson Pickett. I serve as Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Chief Diversity Officer at the University of Pittsburgh. On behalf of all of our colleagues at the University of Pittsburgh, certainly excited to be a part of it today, and excited about the survey and opportunity for us to find out more about the African American experience here in the city of Pittsburgh and what we can do collectively to retain talent. We at the university understand that it's possible at Pitt. Part of that means all the successes for our students, certainly our faculty and our staff. And we know that the survey represents an opportunity for us to be intentional about finding more about the stories, the narratives, and more importantly, all we can do to make sure that those constituents can be successful and more importantly, thrive in our city. We know that that is the priority. So we're excited, of course, to share this more broadly. I want to give kudos to the Corporate Equity Inclusion Roundtable, B-Pep, all of the partners who made this a reality, certainly our colleagues in the School of Social Work, Dr. Connor, the work that you continue to do, Dean Farmer, helping to move this and make this a reality, and all of our other colleagues. I see a number here, and so appreciate all that you do. I do have a great name, but brevity is one of my strengths. So I will get out of the way, but say we're excited to be a part of this. More importantly, excited for everything that will come in the time ahead. And so appreciate everything. Certainly, Ms. Ware, thank you for all that you do. And looking forward to being a part of this, everyone. I'll get out of the way and have a great evening.
All right. Now, Wilson Pickett, let's go on to the University of Pittsburgh, the Vice Chancellor. People say near the end of the service is a benediction. Well, my minister's in the house. And I'm going to give him an assignment if he accepts.
Amen.
We need to get the Black church behind this. The Black church. The first Black church in Western Pennsylvania was a church where I played keyboards along with a great organist. Leonard Holt on Sundays. And the service was led by Reverend Dr. Dale Snyder. Got his PhD in the last year or two, couple years ago. He does a good job for us. He has a background in history in civil rights, human rights, and the need for improvement in our communities. So it seemed appropriate to bring my pastor, if you will say in your own way, why this survey is important and how maybe you can play a part in spreading this with the black church. He's also the head of the ministers, Mr. Alliance, of the Conference and Hill District. So he's more than a cute face. So let's bring up Reverend Dr. Joe Snyder. Echo, David Church, Open Church, Western, Illinois.
Thank you, Tim, for this great opportunity. It's a joy to pastor Tim. When I came here 4.5 years ago, he invited me to his first B-Pep meeting. And he's the first person I ever seen who chaired the meeting and kept the minutes at the same time. I said, this man is miraculous. I love what they're saying, that we don't need to make up stuff. We need actual facts. We need to let the facts tell us how to find the solution. If you're a doctor, you have to research and figure out what's going on. If you're a lawyer, you have to figure out probable cause and find the defense story. So I think that this survey, along with inviting the churches to the table, give us an opportunity to get all the nuances that we can, we should, this, but to have the actual facts behind the stories. Not from Pittsburgh, but from that city that y'all don't really like, Cleveland, but my church baptized me back in Pittsburgh. Still, a hat and a coat, and I must say I really love Pittsburgh right now. We really need to tell the story in a way that we touch every fabric of the African American community. Because not only are we at the lower end, as many people may think, but there's a lot of middle class, and there's a lot of upper class, and a lot of educated and talented, but there's also a lot of people who have been left behind. So I wholeheartedly support this survey, and I hope that I can find with my colleagues ways that we as a church can participate in the way so we can make sure we have action facts. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Tim. And he's a phenomenal singer and a fantastic keyboard player, and he's a good backup singer. He backs me up about that.
We're going to ask the man who's led our effort in this, leading it, the Black Satisfaction and Retention Survey Committee Chair, and Kelly, who's been his partner, and then Dr. Kaya. Come on back up, the three of you. Just come on up. And I'm going to sit down. If you have a question, please ask them now, and then we will conclude the press conference.
I'm going to jump the gun because I realized something that I did forget to say, is that we do also have a phone number. We know that not everybody has the same access to technology. So there is a phone number where if you call it, it's on the flyer, it's on the website. Someone from Chris will answer or maybe leave a message, or they will get back to you. And then they can either schedule a time for you to either take the survey by phone or for you to meet out in the community and have somebody sit down and talk with you as well. So just because we do know that that is an issue and we do want to reach absolutely everybody, I did want to also say you don't actually have to have a smartphone or internet access or anything like that to participate, because we do know that that would exclude a large number of the folks that we want to reach. And so I just wanted to put that out there before we open it up to questions, because I did neglect to say that.
We're recording this, so repeat the number twice.
Oh, so the phone number is 412-624-2883. That's 412-624-2883. And the website is blackpittsburghsurvey.org.
I'll just also add to that, I think, a reminder that one of the other things that we heard as we came into community to talk about this survey and wanting to increase our ability to reach as many people as possible was the importance of us actually going out to community and doing some of these surveys with people face to face. So in the spring, starting around January, once the weather just gets a little bit better, we're going to be going out and doing some sort of door-to-door, going to community events, and having some of the students who are working in the Center on Race and Social Problems sit down with folks and help them to take this survey, so that again, we can capture responses, not just from folks who are able to go online and take the survey that way. So please also use this telephone number if you are interested in having folks from our center come out to your congregation, to a community event, to anything that would be meaningful to you all, we want to make sure that we can capture as many responses as possible and not create additional barriers and limitations due to technology.
Any questions? These are people asking. Go ahead.
Sir, do you have a list of your current partners, and who's the point person to contact about additional partners?
We do have a current list of partners that we utilize. You can contact any number of us and give information. You can contact any one of us to become potential partners. It's really working directly with the CEIR working group to ensure that the contact with your organization is solidified and that we are able to provide as much information to you as possible to get the word out through your contacts and build that partnership.
In addition to reaching out to anybody individually, we also have a Gmail. So that's the blackpittsburghsurvey@gmail.com. And so that is a shared inbox. So if you forget my name and you can't find me, or Godfrey, or get lost in somebody's inbox, you can outreach to us that way. And that's blackpittsburghsurvey@gmail.com.
I just want to make sure this is only for Black people who currently live in Pittsburgh.
No. So if you have ever considered yourself a Black Pittsburgher, so if you are from here and you've left, if you were here for 10 years and glory to your heart's still here, we want to hear from you. So essentially, if you at any point consider yourself to be a Black Pittsburgher, we want to hear from you.
And then at the conclusion of this, is there going to be, where are we going to be after March 31st, and understanding what the survey results are?
So we're going to do a brief overview in June. We'll be able to at least we talk to however many people, and we will conduct as many interviews, that sort of basic information. But then there will be press conferences like this, as well as beautiful, glossy, I like graphics, reports that highlight our data, our outcomes, etc. Dr. Khan would be want to speak more specifically on that. But we will be back out engaging with folks to talk more about what the results of the survey are.
And just make sure when they take the survey by phone, is that with an actual person, or is that?
It's with a live person.
I just wanted to add that I think, our goal is to get as much of this information out to as many people as possible. But it's not just about what we found, it's about interpreting that information so that we can come up with solutions, with meaningful action steps that are going to help bring folks back and help enhance the lives of folks who are here. And so getting other people, the community, your perspectives, your thoughts about the things that we have found, the stories, the data, and really having some sort of town hall conversations about what that means and what we can do with that information, so that we're not just leaving it here, but bringing it up the ladder so that real policy changes can be made that are actually going to see a real difference.
And I also add on top of that, as mentioned earlier, CEIR working group will utilize this information that comes back for us as we build. Our focus on addressing the equity and inclusion of African Americans in the Greater Pittsburgh region when it comes to corporate organizations, universities, larger nonprofits. As we engage in conversations, we can utilize this information to help build strategies for organizations that are looking to enhance their recruitment and retention efforts for Black African Americans in the community. So it's going to be a great data piece for us to engage in conversation and build those strategies out.
One of the and you kind of touched on it, but one of the attendees, they asked the question was, how was the data being stored and who had actual access to it, because the community really cares about that.
So we have secure databases at the University of Pittsburgh, and that's where all that data is going to be stored. Right now, everyone from the Center on Race and Social Problems as well as CBIR has access to the actual data. But we can make that data available, but people will have to just reach out to us directly, and we have like a little bit of a form that one fills out to kind of tell us, so that we can ensure that it stays safe. But what's really important is that this is de-identified data. So we're not asking for people's names, we're not asking for any kind of contact information other than people's email addresses if they would like to receive their $10 gift card so that they can get that. But other than that, our goal is to try to keep responses as secure and confidential as possible. But if people are interested in seeing the data, please do reach out to us because we want to make it available in a safe way.
Question right here. You can stand up and ask, we can hear you. Go for it.
First, I want to say thank y'all for this work. As a Black woman, it's also a boomerang. I'm excited and appreciate this. Also, I'm the first ever public engagement specialist at the Department of City Planning. So my question is, have you been approached or contacted by a representative from the city about how this work can tie into the kicking off comprehensive plan? Or if not,
We've talked to different representatives at the city, but nobody with respect to the comprehensive state plan. So we can chat a little bit more on. Thank you.
Question. Are you representing the city administration tonight?
I wear a lot of hats.
Not officially. Is somebody in the House representing the administration? Because they said they were going to send somebody tonight. So I don't want to miss out.
No, that person is not.
Is there any organizational representative in the House whose organization is committing to help market this that's in the House that could announce that commitment? We want to miss anybody tonight. Okay? Also, if you hang for just a few minutes, Alexander Payton, our host, is kind enough to go and print an updated press conference statement that has additional information that I think you want to leave with. So if you can hang for just a few minutes, that will be given to us, and Alexander's copying that for us. It was some updated information that we thought you would want to know. Any other questions of our team while they're here? Okay. So let's give a hand to our team. So don't go anywhere because the information is being handed out as we speak. And Soap Pit Magazine's in the house, and Donna Baxter has had this in operation for many, many years.
Just, yeah, okay. We'll be able to put the survey in the winter issue too. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
We also want to thank all the media here tonight because so often we cover negative news and this is positive news. So thank them. Let's give them a hand tonight. All the media in the house, including our television center. That was a positive story. On behalf of what'd you say? Well, I don't want to.
Hello. Nice to meet you.